Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Bhattavrinda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Bhattavrinda. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to our Tuesday evening Bhagavad Gita class. And it's so good to see all of you here. So we will start with our usual prayer to the spiritual master. Om Ajnanatimarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So we're going to do a quick health check today to see how you are doing. And I'm going to launch a poll and it's going to come on your screen and you can respond. Let me know how you are feeling today. And I'm looking at the responses here. There are 5 people on the call and 2 have voted. 2 are feeling good. And more. Do you see the poll on your screen? Okay. 1 feels transcendental, 1 feels very good, and 2 are feeling good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 more. I need 1 more poll. Who hasn't responded yet to their polls? It's going to close now. Okay. Going 1, going 2, and going 3. Okay. So we have 1 feeling transcendental, 2 feeling good, and 1 feeling very good. So that's very, very nice. Okay. So let's continue with our reading from Bhagavad Gita. We are doing chapter number 3, which is Karma Yoga. And we had started with Arjuna asking this question that, why should I fight this war? Why are you engaging me in this war? Buddhi yoga is much better. And then please don't give me confusing instructions. Please tell me, for once and for all, what is good for me. And Krishna then told him that, people act according to the faith that they have. There are two kinds of faith they can have. They can try to find self-realization by Sankhya yoga or by doing karma yoga. And then he also cautioned Arjuna. And he said that Arjuna, thinking that not going to work is not a good idea, because one can, by not doing work also, one can get the results of not acting. So you are not free from the actions, from the reactions to the action or non-action like that. So today we are going to continue on with instructions of the Lord, and starting from 3.6. I'm going to start sharing the screen with you all.
3.5.
Today is 3.5. Is it?
No, 6.
Is it 6?
6. Yeah, we did 5 yesterday.
Yeah. Yes, we finished 3.5.
Yeah, it's
We did
6.
5,
Yeah.
right? Okay, let's go to 6 then. And this is 3.6. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimuratma mithyachara sauchyate. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimuratma mithyachara sauchyate. Okay, so let's see. What are the synonyms for that? Karma Indriyani. So we have been talking a lot about the Indriyanis for a long time now. And Karmendriya and Jnanendriya. So here he's talking about Karmendriyas, because we are in the chapter of Karma Yoga. So Krishna is focusing on those senses, the Karmendriyanis. And he's saying the 5 working sense organs that we have are the Karma Indriyani. Samyamya is sanyam, is to control them, or controlling, one who is controlling them. And then yaha means anyone who, and aste means remain. Then manasa, by the mind, that we know, right? Manasa, by the mind. Smaran means to think of. Smaranam, right? So thinking of, smaran. Indriya arthan. So arthan is the objects. So indriya arthan is sense objects. Vimura means foolish. Atma means soul. Mityacharaha means pretender. Saha means he, and uchyate is called. Okay. So how many words are there in this sloka? Can you tell me? How many words are there? You can take out your text pad and tell me. I can see one chat is there. Okay, so 13. Okay. 13 or 14, 13, 11, 13 or 14. Any other takers? Anybody else counting? In the shloka over here, how many are there? So Sukumaladhi Mataji says this is 11, and it is 11 indeed. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, those are the words in the shloka. And what is the Sanskrit for thinking of something? What is the Sanskrit for that? Thinking of something. When you are thinking of something, what will you say in Sanskrit? Smaran, 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 smaran. Okay, so there we go. And then what is the Sanskrit for pretender? It's a very important word. It's the only important word. I mean, actually, I shouldn't say that. Every part of Gita is important, but the big thing, the key is pretender. Pretender. Right, and it's a very interesting word, and I wanted to spend a little bit time over here. So achara, right? Achar, sadachar, durachar. So we have heard these words before. So sadachar, durachar is they are basically talking about our behavior or our activities, how we are working, right? So then mithya. Mithya we know is something which is not reality, is called mithya. Like they say, Jagan Mithya, this whole world is just not real, right? Some philosophies say that. We don't say that, by the way. So Mithya means it's something which is unreal. So Mithya Achar, that when you are behaving, when your activities are not real. So when your activities are not real, what are you actually doing? You are pretending, right? Like that. So Mithyachara is a very important words here. So then continuing on into the translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So he says that one who restrains the senses of action, senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Purport: there are many pretenders who refuse to work in Krishna consciousness. They refuse to work in Krishna consciousness, but make a show of meditation, while actually dwelling within the mind upon sense enjoyment. Such pretenders may also speak on dry philosophy in order to bluff sophisticated followers. But according to this verse, these are the greatest cheaters. For sense enjoyment, one can act in any capacity of the social order. But if one follows the rules and regulations of his particular status, he can make gradual progress in purifying his existence. But he who makes a show of being a yogi while actually searching for the objects of sense gratification must be called the greatest cheater, even though he sometimes speaks of philosophy. His knowledge has no value because the effects of such a sinful man's knowledge are taken away by the illusory energy of the Lord. Such a pretender's mind is always impure, and therefore his show of yogic meditation has no value whatsoever. That's it. Right? So it's a very, very important point that Krishna is mentioning over here, is that you're trying to restrain your sense of action, your tongue, your hands, your legs, and so on and so forth. Right? We are restraining them. But in our mind, we are still thinking about them. Right? So outwardly, we have put on this nice behavior. I'm sitting, I'm chanting, I'm not moving at all. But inside, the mind is going ferociously fast, right? This and that, this and that, this and that, right? So number one, we are deluding ourselves because we might think that we are great yogis, that I'm able to sit still without doing anything, or I drink only milk, or, I keep nirjal vrat, like that. But all those are useless because we're not connected to Krishna. And so such a person is deluding himself. And then, of course, he's also deluding the innocent public, which is standing outside his mind and looking at him, right? So they might get impressed by, okay, this yogi has been sitting here for 15 days, right? Now, what has he been thinking about for 15 days? We don't know. Right? So such a person is called a pretender. And so Prabhupada is telling us that it is the mind, and it is this. Why are they thinking about sense objects? Because senses need some kind of an engagement. Senses cannot be idle. So we have to engage them in something. And if we just say that I'm going to quiet my mind, I'm not going to have any thoughts, I'm not going to move my hands, I'm not going to move my legs, sooner or later, or I'm going to close my eyes and not see anything, sooner or later, the eyes will open, right? For majority of us like that. And so there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, that we did, 59. So it says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So what that verse means is that if we artificially try to restrain our senses, then we might be able to do that. We might be able to do that, but the taste for enjoying those things still remains. And as long as the taste for enjoying those things still remains, we will be thinking about that, right? And that is what today's verse is saying, that, artificially restraining your not acting, working senses, but still the sixth sense, the mind is dwelling on those is not a good idea at all. Right? So in 2.59, there's a solution to this, a proper solution. This is not the proper solution that, Krishna is warning Arjuna against, right? Because one has to be purified. Do you think Arjuna is a Kshatriya? So yesterday we said that, you will do according to your nature. So he's a Kshatriya and he might just say, okay, I'm going to put the Gandiva away. I'm going to fold my hands. I'm not going to fight and things like that. But the Kshatriya in him will, come out and then he will fight, right? Because in the mind, he will still be seething in anger regarding what they did to his wife and what they did to his kingdom and so on and so forth, like that. So that inner turmoil has to be quietened down. And to do that, right? Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So how is that inner turmoil going to be quietened? That will happen only when you develop a higher taste and let all your senses be engaged in the service of the Lord. And that we talk about the king, Kulashekara, he engaged every sense of his in the service of the Lord, right? Working senses and knowledge acquiring senses. He did that, like that. And when it doesn't happen, so let's look at a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which talks, a couple of verses actually are very, very nice. And we're going to just bring those up here. So the first verse is from Canto 7, and it is our Prahlad Maharaj. He's talking about the science of God. And so let me just start sharing my screen here with you. And it's a very famous verse, very often quoted by Srila Prabhupada. And it says, Shri Prahlad Vacha Matir na Krishne Paratasvato va Mitho bhipadyeta griha vratana Adanta gobhir vishitam tamisham Punaha punascharvita charvanana. So what does he say? Prahlad Maharaj is saying here in this verse. It's a very, very powerful verse because it describes many of us. Prahlad Maharaj said, because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress towards hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations towards Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others or by their own efforts or by the combination of both. So you can see how dangerous uncontrolled senses are. And if we keep on satisfying our senses is like a fire. And if we continue to satisfy or try to satisfy those senses, not much good is going to come out of that. Why? Because satisfying the senses is like putting ghee into a fire, because the fire is hungry. It wants something, so you put a little ghee. What happens when you put a little ghee into the fire? The fire becomes even bigger, right? So not much is going to happen. When you try to satisfy your senses, they're only going to become stronger and stronger. And in 2.70 of Bhagavad Gita that we did, and this was a verse that we did in the, we did that in the Sunday practice, right? Apuryamanam achila pratishtam samudramapaha pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti nakam kami. So there it was described, the person who is a peaceful person is described like what is the peaceful person's behavior. So peaceful person's behavior is that just like as many rivers continue to come into the ocean, but the ocean still remains calm and quiet. Similarly, a person in a peaceful situation, a peaceful person, he gets agitated by the objects of the senses, but he never tries to satisfy those senses. He quietly just ignores them, tolerates those urges or whatever, does not act upon them. So that is how our behavior should be, and not as how this is saying. This verse is describing. Prahlad Maharaj is saying that because of their uncontrolled senses, the senses demand, I want this, go get this. I want halwa, okay, let's get halwa, like that, right? So when you indulge so much in the sense activities, then actually you progress towards hellish conditions of life. Why hellish conditions of life? Doctor says that too much ice cream is not good, but uncontrolled senses need to eat it every day. 40 years later, something is going to happen to the body, if not sooner. Okay. So, and then we'll go to the doctor will tell us not to eat ice cream. And now we are thinking about ice cream all the time because the taste and the desire to eat ice cream has not yet left us like that. And so we'll go through the pain of the suffering that comes from too much of indulgence of the senses, like that. Right? And actually, in this particular verse, there is a word which says, Adanta gobhir vishitam tamishram. So let's look at these words. Adanta gobhir, what does it mean? Right? Adanta is uncontrolled. Dante means control. Adanta means uncontrolled. Gobhihi, senses. Right? Vishatam, entering. Tamishram is hellish life. Right? And we know that Bhagavatam gives a very nice description of the hellish lives and the hellish planets that we have, right? And I'll just remind and give you a little glimpse of what hellish lives are. And here we go. Can you see that? It's covered by my console. Yeah. Description of the hellish planets in chapter 26. So here it is saying that the 26th chapter, the last chapter of the 5th canto, describes how a sinful man goes to different hells where he's punished in various ways by the assistance of Yamaraj. What's the name for assistance of Yamaraj? Can you tell me? Type it out, please.
Chitragupta Mataji.
Assistance of Yamaraj. Those who assist Yamaraj.
Oh, Yamduta.
You're supposed to type it out. Right? So Virabha Mataji says Yamduta, and that is right, right? And then Yamdutas, right? And then my next question, sorry, I was reading the chat. And the next question is, so those who serve Yamraj are Yamdutas, so those who serve Vishnu are called? Apply logic. Type it out, please. Vishnu Dutas, Vishnu Dutas, Vishnu Dutas. Yes, you are right. Okay. So when a devotee departs and is ready to go back to Godhead, then the Vishnu Dutas come in a celestial airplane and they will take him back to Godhead in that vehicle. So we have Yamdutas and we have Vishnu Dutas, right? So Adanta Gobhir Vishatam Tamishram. So there are different kinds of hellish planets. And so here he's saying that by the assistance of Yamaraj basically means the Yamdutas. And so Sukadeva Goswami describes the following 28 types of hell. So these are not 28 planets. The hellish planets are thousands and thousands of hellish planets, right? They are just divided into these 28 broad categories. And those of you who want to be scared can go and read the rest of chapter 26 to know what you have to do to enter into these hellish planets. Now, one of the things that is repeatedly mentioned in this chapter and 26 and in chapters that come after that, and that is that devotees who chant the names of the Lord do not go to the hellish planets. Now, armed with that idea, let us not perform sins that lead us to this hellish planet, thinking that because I'm chanting, because committing sins on the strength of the holy name is itself a big offense to the holy name, right? And that we don't want to be in that area. But you see over here, Sukdev Goswami describes the following 28 hells: Tamishra, Andhatamishra, Raurava, Kumbhipaka, Kala Sutra. So there's so many of them, right? But I just wanted to point out that the very first type of hell that is described is Tamishra. And, here it's saying that Adanta Gobher Vishitam Tamishram. Okay. So because the uncontrolled senses are uncontrolled, because of that, you go into hellish conditions. Punah charvita charvananam. And there's a question over there on the chat window that if I can elaborate a little bit on that, punah charvita charvananam, that they repeatedly chew what has already been chewed, right? So if you chew something, then you get the taste of it and you understand what it is, right? Now you already chewed it, you already tasted it. Now if you're going to chew it again, right, you're going to get the taste again. If I do that, right? If you take a stem from the neem tree and you chew it, then it'll be, it is very bitter. Now you throw it away. Then after some time, you pick it up again and then you chew it again, right? It's going to taste bitter again. So punar chavita charvananam, they repeatedly chew what has already been chewed, is, you already suffered because of these uncontrolled senses, but we are such slaves to these senses that next time the senses demand the same thing, we are go and do the same mistake again, right? And Prabhupada says gives such a graphic and a strong example of this, what this verse is talking about, and as well as punas charvita charvananam. And that is that a person who is indulgent and goes to prostitutes. So it seems like, of course, this is pleasure. It's a sensual pleasure, going there, mode of passion, and sometimes mixed with ignorance also. And then he contracts some diseases because of doing that, and because of that, he suffers. So that is, he chewed and now he's getting the result of that. So he suffers from that. And then the doctor says, now stop going there, mister, otherwise you'll be dead. And so he will stop going there, but he doesn't stop thinking about it, right? So whatever suffering, whatever pain he's going through, whatever medicines the doctor is giving, he will take all that, suffer all that, but still think about that pleasure. And guess what? As soon as he gets ready, he's back at the brothel. So this is punah charvita charvananam. It's amazing that once I was talking to a car dealer, and so generally, I don't know why that topic came, but he was I think we were haggling on the price of the car or something like that, and I must have asked, how much commission do you make, and why don't you give us a discount from your commission? You must be making so much of commissions. I was doing the regular, bargaining talks. And then he said, I am paying 5 alimonies. 5. Can you believe that? Got married, got divorced. The wife asked for alimony. You have to pay it. Get married again. Same story. Did not understand. Punah charvita charvananam. The third wife is going to be good. Third wife divorced that way. 5 alimonies and 3 jobs. That is what punah charvita charvananam is there, right? And these senses senses that we have are so strong, and we saw that they carry away the mind of a man who's the very man who is endeavoring to control them. And we see this famous story of Vishwamitra, right? Vishwamitra wanted something, right? He wanted to become one of the Sapta Rishis and become a Brahman. He was a Kshatriya, right? And a Kshatriya behaves like a Kshatriya. He goes to meet Vashishta. He sees the Surabhi cow over there. And Kshatriya wants everything. I want the Surabhi cow. And when Vashishtha said, I can't give it to you, he took it by force. So easy in the previous verse, Prabhupada was talking about, and Krishna was telling Arjuna that, although you're saying I won't fight, and etc., but you will do it, because that's what your nature is. So that's what his nature was. And so he was now trying to become a Brahmana and said, okay, I'm going to go and do a lot of meditations. And he did meditation. He did try to control his mind. But then Indra sent Menaka, and the rest of it is history. We all know that, right? So when we try to control in a manner where we are not yet ready, and we are just doing it without any solid ground, right? If I'm saying that I won't look at anything because I look at pictures of Krishna, or if I'm saying that I won't eat anything because I eat only prasadam, so I have developed a higher taste, and then it'll be easy to sort of control the senses. And it's not even just control of the senses; we are satisfying the senses, right? But with better things like that, right? Otherwise, if we just let let the senses rule us, and just let our desires carry us to wherever we want to be, they want to carry us away, then it's a very difficult thing. And in Bhagavatam, Rishabh-devi explains that to his 100 sons that he has. He says, Nunam pramatta kurute vikarmana yat indriya pritaya aprinoti nasadhu manye yatatmano yam asannapi akaleshat api deha asha deha. So what does that mean? It says that if you consider, very, very important, and there are quite a few people and quite a few philosophies who just propagate this idea. And what they say is that when a person considers that gratifying your senses is the only aim that you have in life, that's how khao piyo mauj karo, like that, right? So when you think that that is the aim, then there's nothing else for you to run after. So you start running after these sense gratifications, and you will go crazy. You'll just go crazy in trying to do that. And so much so crazy that you will even indulge in sinful activities. You don't care, because by hook or by crook, I need to get my sense gratification. And the foolish person, that's the soul, the foolish soul, right, is covered by this body. And the soul is given a body. This body itself is a punishment. Number one, we have to understand this. Right? Getting a material body is a punishment for the soul. So then, why did I get this body? Why am I being punished? I'm being punished because of the past sins that I have done. Right? So we forget all that. That I've got this body. Oh, I like this. Oh, I like my nose. I like this thing. I've got big teeth. I can eat better, like that. Right? So he's completely oblivious, and he just thinks that or he does not know that, my dear, you are in this body. You are actually in a jail. And you're suffering because of this. He does not, does not understand that, right? This soul that we all are, this soul actually is spiritual. We know that, right? Has got nothing to do with this material nature. Just as Krishna says that, I create this, I do all that. I have nothing to do with them. We also have nothing to do with these. We were nice spiritual souls. We were serving in Vaikuntha planets. And then because we wanted to be controllers, we wanted to enjoy, we were rebellious souls. So a person who should not have had a body has been given this body, has been rewarded as a punishment. You got that, right? So the best thing for a person, so Rishabh-devi is telling his sons, is that, when a person goes after sense objects, then he goes mad. And he doesn't realize that he got this body. So the best thing that you should do is that don't involve yourself in unnecessary sense gratification activities. Do not indulge in them, because if you do that, you will get one material body after another, one after the other, one after the other. And then you will keep on going up and down the planetary systems, right? Punar charvita charvananam. What did you do? I ate and I slept and I had mated and I defended. What? In a dog's body. Then what? Well, I became a cat. What did you do? Well, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. All right. Then you become man again. What did you do? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Puna charvita charvanana. Right? Everywhere you had all the same thing. So why are you doing that? Intelligent people should not do that. So rather than just sit down and say that I'm controlling my senses because I've got the strength. Ahankara vimuratma kartaham iti manyate. Things that everything that is happening in my body is, I am doing it, but it doesn't happen. Prakriti kriya kamanani gurhe karmani sarvasa. Whatever happens to this material body happens because of the modes of material nature and because of the laws of material nature, right? That's why when a young man comes in front of the young woman, there is a natural attraction, even though they might be wanting to pursue devotional service, but you leave them alone and something happens, right? So the reason is modes of material nature can act like that, and they become, they superimpose themselves on you. So we should not, try to artificially control all that and then put up a pretense, put up a behavior which will make others think that I'm doing, very fantastic yogic exercises and I'm a great devotee and things like that. There is all kinds of rotten things going on inside our head. So one thing that we need to keep in mind when we are talking about these things is that there is good behavior also that we tell you to do, right? For example, somebody is misbehaving and I'm just, ready to raise my hand and slap that other person or do whatever, write a nasty note and things like that. And we said, no, you should control your senses. Or sometimes, people are talking something and we just keep quiet, right? And is that good or is that bad? Okay. Or sometimes we are envious of something. Maybe Varshana Mataji has got a new pair of glasses. And, I really like them. I really wanted that kind of glasses, but I don't have, time, money, circumstance to buy it. I'm envious. Why did she have it? I deserved it. So when that envy is, burning from inside me, they go and say that even if even if you don't feel like saying it, but go there and tell her that, I like your glasses. So isn't that a pretense also? You're pretending to like them, but not, right? So you have to see always in the two cases, you have to see the intention of the person. What is the intention that was there behind it, right? In the first case, I'm going and sitting on the top of the Himalayas, or as soon as somebody comes, I just go and, go into the meditation pose and, people are thinking, oh, wow, what concentration, doesn't move, has been sitting there for 2 hours. And inside, I'm just thinking, what's for dinner? Right, like that. So, or thinking of schemes on how to make money from this innocent public which is standing in front of me, like that. So you see the intention there is different. Whereas in the second case, you are pretending, but you're pretending for your own purification because you know that is the right thing to do to overcome envy. And you know that envy is the biggest enemy of devotional service, like that. Okay, so that's something that we need to keep in mind here. Now, there are many examples in Srimad Bhagavatam of people pretended to be somebody else. Can you tell me any examples come to your mind of how somebody pretended to be something else? When Prithu Maharaj was doing the Ashwamedha Yagyas, he had done 99. And then when he was going to do 100 yagas, that would have qualified him to become Indra. Then what happened? Anybody remember what happens then? You don't have Kathy in the class today. She would have remembered that story. Then Indra comes disguised as a sannyasi and he steals the horse, which is used in the Ashwamedha Yag. So he was pretending to be a sannyasi, although he was not a sannyasi, right? And Prabhupada says that it's very, very important that in the purport also he says that, if you want to have sense enjoyment, Krishna has given, Chatur Varna Maya Shrishtam. So he says that I have created these 4, classes of societies and the 4 ashrams. I've created those. And so and each of the ashram will allow you to do certain kinds of sense gratification. So there is ample, according to the Vedic injunctions, there is provision for us to enjoy here also. It's not that everything is wrong, but we have to do them, not a shastra with him, but you have to do it in the right manner, not avidhi purvakam, like that, right? So the brahmachari is there. A boy is born as a brahmachari, and then he pursues his studies, stays as a brahmachari. And at the end of it, you analyze yourself, and then you see what you want. If you still have desires for enjoyment, then enter into Grihastha ashram and stay happy with one wife there, right? If you're cool with the brahmachari ashram, then go ahead and become a sannyasi, right? So each ashram will allow you to enjoy whatever is proper for you, and will elevate you to the next level in the devotional service by just going through that particular ashram. So that's an important thing for us to also keep in mind, right? There's no need to pretend. There's no need to pretend that I'm a sannyasi, that I'm thinking of all kinds of rotten things, right? If you can't control your senses, then enter into Grihastha ashram. Don't be a pretender, right? To fool the simple public. Okay. So I'm going to stop over here and allow you all to unmute yourself and ask your questions or reflections or anything else that comes to your mind. So Tava Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Mataji, just because we got the human body, we are doing the devotional service. So why it is considered to be a punishment all the time?
The first body that you got was a punishment. The first body that we got, because we were rebels. We all had a spiritual body. We were in Vaikuntha planets, right? And because we rebelled against Krishna, did not want to serve him, then the first time that you come over here, the material body that you get is a punishment. Go into like how we tell our kids, go into the corner or go into another room. This is the other room. This material world is the other room. That's why we're here, right? And after that, but look at now, this is the Lord's magnanimity that he's given you a material body. And then it'll come later on in chapter 3 itself. It'll come that, in the beginning, he will create the generations, and he also gives them instructions. The Vedas also created, actually. Vedas come out of the mouth of Brahma, right? In the beginning, we'll read in Srimad Bhagavatam later on that, when Brahma is born and he does the tapa, etc., then he hears all the Vedas. He's given that diksha, and he hears them, and then he recites the Vedas, all of them. So Brahma does that. So first he's laying out all these nice rules and regulations. And then after that, he's creating the people in this world. So all the facilities are there. And it says that, I have given you yajna, I've given you proper methods to work. And you can just use, as soon as you fall down from the heavenly planets, from the spiritual planets, and you come to this material world. And if you follow the Shastric injunctions in your very first life, you can just go back in that one life itself. You can go back to Godhead. But we don't do that. We have this strong desire to enjoy. And then one birth leads to another birth, leads to another birth, leads to another birth. And in so many births, we just forget that we have to do devotional service. Right? So that all along, all those material bodies are punishments for us. Till someday, by some mercy of some devotee, we turn to take a Bhagavad Gita or read it or hear something from somebody's mouth, and then we start doing devotional service. And ultimately in devotional service, your body becomes transcendental. It doesn't remain material.
Thank you, Mataji.
It can be a punishment. It can be a reward. Depends on what how you use it. Also, right? Put it to good use. Yes. Sadhana Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes. So the first question is, yesterday we were talking about the soul and it having to be active. And then today we were saying the soul is spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
So, but doesn't that make the soul rajasic? The need to have this, need to do something and be active and have all that passion. So I'm trying to reconcile the idea of it being spiritual, but having this guna, that type of behavior, which is like a rajasic guna, right? Which is material.
Yeah. So we have to remember, soul is active basically means the soul has to do something, some activity, not necessarily in the mode of passion. Soul can do transcendental activities. When you sit down and you chant, then you are doing transcendental activity. The soul, right, is using the body, controlling the body, having that desire, I want to serve Krishna. When people go and chop vegetables in the temple, to anybody looking from outside, it peeps into the temple window from, from the road, from Latham Street. If you peep into the kitchen, what will they see? They will just see cooks there with wraps on their head and chopping away mounds of vegetables. To them, it might appear to be a very passionate and, work that they're doing, right? Ugra karma. Big, big knives and chop, 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 you're doing very quickly. So many people are doing, right? But is it a passionate job? No. It is a transcendental activity that you're doing, right? So in the material world, when we are doing materialistic activity, they will be in the three modes, right? They will be in tamasic, they can be in rajasic, but they can also be in sattvic. And we say that sattvic is also, it's better than the other two, but it is still binding. And Prabhupada gives a very nice example. He says these are ropes, right? Guna means rope also in Sanskrit. So tamogun, rajogun, and satogun. The tamogun is at the lowest. All of them are ropes which bind you. They bind the soul. Karmani bandhini manushya loke. So it binds you. And these modes of material nature bind you to the material world. And so how is the bondage happening? When you want to bind somebody, you use shackles, right, to bind them. So he says in those who are in the tamoguna, under the influence of tamoguna, a soul under the influence of tamoguna will have tamasic desires. And that soul is bound to the material world by shackles made of iron. And then a person in the mode of passion is bound to this material world by shackles which are made of silver. Okay? And a person who's in the mode of goodness is bound to the material world, but his shackles are made of gold. And then he says, but a shackle is a shackle. It doesn't matter. It's a chain, right? Whether it's a golden chain that is binding you, or whether it's an iron chain that's binding you, you are a prisoner of this. So how does a person in Satogun become a prisoner of this material world? Because he does good. And because he does good, there's always a reaction to that. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Now, because you did good, and because you did not connect it with Krishna, so it is not a transcendental activity. Otherwise, it would have been what I said yesterday, Vishuddha Sattva. When we use the word Vishuddha Sattva, it is on top of Sattva, right? So from Sattva Guna, you drop the word Guna. So the rope has gone, right? Sattva is remaining. And then Vishuddha, this Sattva has been purified. All material, contaminations have been removed. So now it is pure goodness. And pure goodness, well, you can say it is binding, but it binds you to the Lord. And who does not want to be bound to the Lord? That's what the soul inherent, design was there, that it should be bound to the Lord and be serving the Lord. So it's not that when we go there, when we go into the Vaikuntha planets, it's not that we don't have desire. It's not that we don't have senses. We have spiritual senses. And it's not that we don't want to do sense enjoyment. We do sense enjoyment a lot in the spiritual world also. And the interesting thing is that what gives enjoyment to your senses is a different thing. Now, to my tongue, what gives me enjoyment is that, you put a rasgulla on my tongue, I like it, right? Or what gives me enjoyment to your ears is that, put some filmy song and I like the music and the tune of it. Now, the same ears and the same tongue, in the transcendental plane, and or your senses, you get enjoyment from serving Krishna. It's not, here it is, serve me, give me that taste, give me that good thing, give me this, I want perfume, I want nice silk clothes and things like that. There it is like, give silken cloth to Krishna, give a rasgulla to Krishna because you feel happy like that. And we as ladies or mothers have a little taste of that, right? I still remember when my daughter was small and she was like 6 months or something like that. We went to a juice corner, like in India, there are lots of shops, juice corners, they're usually called juice corners. They will make fresh juice and they will give it to you. So I was carrying my daughter in my hand like that, and he gave me a big glass of juice. And then he made a very tiny, this small glass of juice for my daughter. And so, of course, my daughter, she drank a small glass and then she drank half of my big glass. And I was feeling so happy, just seeing that the child is drinking. And my husband who was next to me, he was observing. And then he said that Megha is drinking the juice and her mother is getting all the vitamins. So it was because you feel so happy that your children are doing it. So that kind of happiness that you get by, when others are enjoying it, that's the kind of happiness that you get. And a mother will say, I don't even want to eat. Sometimes kids do that, right? They come and eat all the food mother has made in portions. They will come and eat everything, and a mother will even go hungry. Like, come on, they ate it. Fine, that's fine. My food is gone. I'll just drink milk or something like that. But that happiness is there inside. Similar, and even many times more multiplied happiness comes to us in the Vaikuntha planets when we are serving Krishna. So we have only one desire, and that is to serve Krishna, and we have only one enjoyment that comes, and that is from serving Krishna. And there are no regrets in that. There are wife and husband. There are wife and husbands in Goloka Vrindavan, and somebody might say like, okay, fine, now you are in Vaikuntha planet, so there'll be some transcendental sex, and that'll be amazing enjoyment that you're going to get. A wife and husbands in Vaikuntha planets or Goloka Vrindavan, they are so busy. Both of them are so busy and getting so much of enjoyment in serving Krishna, they don't even look at each other, with those kind of intentions like that let's enjoy amongst ourselves. So it's a very, transcendental is a totally different realm that we have. And anything which is not transcendental is binding. So as long as I keep on doing good things, I will get the result of that, which means that I've used a body. And Sutapa, now you will see how this body can become a punishment. So you use this body, did something good, opened some hospitals, and did charity work for not the best purposes, but whatever you did, that's all going to come back to you. How is it going to come back to you? Might not come back to us in this world, in this life. We have to take another birth. And now in that other birth, we can be millionaires, multimillionaires, we can be a billionaire. And then so much money is around us and we can get spoiled. We see stories like that. Kubera's son, right? What were the names of Kubera's sons? Anybody remember? Kubera's sons were who? Manigriva, yes. 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 Oh, so sorry, I was not looking at the chat, and some of the answers had come from Virabhava. Yes. Indira's story, yeah. Indra pretended as a sannyasi. Yes. And Namasya Mataji, yes. When you're coming to this earth, it is a punishment unless you're coming here on a very special project, right? To preach, like Prabhupada came here, right? Or Pankaj Jangri Prabhu, who left for his back to Godhead thing, they have all come here on special projects. So Manigriva and Nal Kuvera, yes, exactly right. That, right? So who are they? They are sons of the treasurer. So they are rich people. But you see what they were doing? So the same body can become a punishment and will lead you to Adanta Gove Vishatam Tamisharam, right? So they were cursed by Narasimha and became trees. The trees that don't have a good life. Nowadays, there's so much of wind that is blowing here. You just go out and look at the tree and imagine what would it mean. When you see the tree swaying from here to there, imagine how the tree would be feeling. And then the rain comes, and then the hail comes, and then somebody comes with an axe and cuts off a few branches. It's not a good feeling like that. So whatever material body that you get is indeed a punishment. And coming to this material earth is also a punishment like that.
But is it a hellish planet as well then?
There are hellish planets, yes.
No, is this a hellish planet then?
No. According to what Bhagavatam says, Earth is not Earth is actually a middle planet. Oh. Hellish planets are down below, yeah. So we have, so that day I was talking to you about the universe. So we have the middle planetary system where the best types of devotional activities are done. Above the middle planetary system is the Disneyland, where, there's enjoyment, but it's good enjoyment and you remember about God. Below our planetary system, below our, Bhumandala, is the Las Vegas. Las Vegas means, enjoyment, more enjoyment than Disneyland, right? But completely no light at all, right? There are no lights in the casinos. No windows in the casino, right? Or artificial lights. That kind of a thing is there. No mention of God. Beautiful women, so that is there. Now, even below that are the hellish planets. The hellish planets are somewhere in between Patal Loka, which is the last of the 14 planetary systems. So it is in between Pataloka and the Garbhodakshai ocean, where Vishnu is lying at the bottom of it. So heavenly, the hellish planets are over there.
And you called it the Netherlands, right? You called it the Netherlands.
Netherlands. No, Netherlands are these. The Las Vegas is Netherlands. The 7 which are below us: Atal, Satal, Talatal, Rasatal, Mahatal, and Patal. Those 7 that are there. Those are called Netherlands. Those are Netherlands, and then even below the Netherlands are the hellish planetary system, like that. And then below that is the Garbhodak ocean, where Vishnu is lying.
Thank you.
Varshana Mati. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji, 2 questions. One question came up just now. Once you mentioned that there is no, like you say, Ganges comes up till here. So I was presuming that there is no water underneath. So Garbhodakshai ocean is there?
No.
Okay.
Garbhodakshai is, you take an egg, right? A real egg, a hen's egg, right? And just try to imagine what is inside the egg. There is that white, right? Albumin is there.
Yes.
That white.
Yes.
That is Garbhodak. That is Garbhodak ocean. So that Garbhodak ocean is there. Ganges is not the only source of water. There's plenty of water, and there's plenty of other things also. There's plenty of other liquids also in this universe. Water is not the only one. There is pure water, there is salt water, there is sugarcane juice, there is liquor, there is ghee, like that. So there are plenty of liquids in our universal system, and I will talk about that in one of the Saturdays when we are talking about because we didn't finish it. We had just started to barely scratch the surface of the universe. It's a long description. Yeah.
Mataji, after reading this, that such pretenders may also speak on dry philosophy in order to bluff sophisticated followers. But according to this verse, these are the greatest cheaters. Mataji, sometimes you feel that, you say, when we are chanting, sometimes you say it happens that the body is tired and you go off to sleep or something like that. So in that case, we are the cheaters, Mataji. I mean, I am the cheater, I can say.
No, why are you the cheater?
So isn't it that I'm bluffing, that I'm chanting, but I'm sleeping?
Bluffing whom? You're not bluffing the other, if you go to sleep while chanting, others see you sleeping. They see you.
Yes,
because the head
others see.
Like that. They will see. They will know that you're not chanting. The bluffing actually happens when you're saying Hare Krishna, and not thinking about Krishna and thinking about something very mundane and how I can enjoy, how I can do this, or thinking that, I am chanting here and everybody's being impressed by the fact that I'm chanting. That is called a pretender. It's an intention. Yeah. Your situation was, the intention was to chant and the body gave way because of lack of sleep or tiredness or too much work, like that. That's a different situation, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but always see what's inside the heart.
Mataji, in all 16 rounds, I'm sure that all of us at some point, the mind wanders and
yes,
still going on with the beads, but the mind is everywhere. So we are pretenders then?
No. When you sit down with the mood that, I know, you remember when one of the Make Japa Great Again sessions, Shri Prabhu asked that, how is it on a scale of 10? And somebody said 2. It was such an honest, declaration that I am at a 2. And so you see that although you see all of them chanting, but then it is, what is your intention? What are you trying to portray? I'm just trying to portray that I've come here to the Japa circle. I don't know how to chant. I'm here to learn. I know my mind wanders. And that's it. That is my mood, right? The other mood is that I just sit and then I chant with the idea that others are going to think that this is an exalted person. You see, that is where the pretense is coming. Yeah. Your intention of sitting down and chanting. Like that.
Making a show to others that you are
making a show for others, right? And in doing that, you're thinking that, you're deluding yourself because you're thinking you're doing a very good thing, which is wrong thing you're doing, and the innocent public also. And when he's talking about, they talk about sophisticated philosophy. Sophisticated philosophy is the Mayavad philosophy, right? Well, they will take you to a lot of sophisticated discussions, and you will find that Mayavad philosophy is very prevalent among the intelligentsia, because They're so intelligent. They are powerful also, right? They've got money. They can get things done. And so the next natural and the obvious step is that when somebody suggests that, you know what, you're God, we just lap it up. We want it. We want to be God. And why? Because that inherent envy of Krishna is there. We didn't want to obey him because the basic question was, you know, why should I obey you? I am good enough. And now here somebody comes and tell me you are actually God. Then we go there, right? We go that route. It's a very sophisticated. People can have many books have been written. Big, organizations are there which are, you know, propagating these ideas. And sadly, you know, a lot of people who come from India are also taking to Mayavad's philosophies here, listening to the philosophers here. Because Mayavadi philosophy is full of ego. I am God. And on the bhakta, it is complete humility. Trinadapi sunichena. Lower than the blade of grass. Very difficult to do. Like that. So, yeah. So those who are doing devotional service, it's indeed.
1 minute, Mataji, can I ask?
Yeah, just 1 second.
Yeah.
I saw Aruni had raised her hand. I just want to make sure. Okay, she's lowered it. Okay, go ahead. Maybe it got answered.
Mataji, these days we are hearing.
Oh, okay.
No, Aruni, please go ahead.
Yeah, I know you were in a discussion. That's why I lowered my hand. But yeah, I just had a question about the planets. When you said the life on Earth is a punishment, but then in relation to the other planets where you have the hellish planets, and on Earth you have, you are God conscious and you have a pathway to Krishna by being Krishna conscious or God conscious. So why would it still be considered a punishment? Because it's not all pure enjoyment, and because of that, you have a process to find your way back to God, because it's not all enjoyment and it's not all hell. So you still have a way to go back to God. So why would it still be considered a punishment?
Yes, and I think I answered that question when Archana had asked, right? So I was saying that for a soul to have a material body is a punishment because you are a spiritual. In the first place, we have no business being here. We belong to Vaikuntha planet. So that is the punishment that you are here. Now, when you are in this body, you will have Janma, Mrityu. If you want to understand what is Janma, read 31st chapter in the 3rd canto. You will understand how horrible it is to go into a womb and suffer what happens there. Death, of course, is, we all know, is terrifying. And it's a mind-boggling event. And then we have disease and we have old age that we cannot avoid. It's a nice punishment. So should we be happy that we have got a chance to serve Krishna in this body here, which gives me all these kinds of grief? Or am I in a better situation if I have a spiritual body and I'm serving Krishna in the Vaikuntha planet? So when you're making that comparison, it is a punishment. But then again, within this material universe, if you're talking that, remember, we are talking about that getting this material body. We are not saying getting this human body, right? Human body is also material. But, now among the material, all the material bodies, yes, human body is the best. So in a jail, you are in a 1st class jail rather than being in a 3rd class jail. It's still a jail like that. If I'm a human being and I'm just doing all kinds of good things here, it is still a jail. Remember that. It'll bring you back again here unless you do something spiritual to get out of it. So karmani nirdhati kintu jo bhakti bhaja means it will it'll erase your karma. So when we say it'll erase your karma, what does that mean? It means it'll erase both your good as well as bad karma. Prabhupada, there was one of our, in our Bhakti Vaibhav class, one of our, colleagues, he was teaching, and so we take turns in teaching. So he was teaching and he was talking about Ganges and Yamuna. He was making some comparison between them. And so he's saying that once Prabhupada went with all his disciples to Vrindavan and they all were, going to take a bath in Yamuna. So people were there inside and, they were splashing water each other and generally enjoying that we are in the Yamuna. And then Prabhupada said that, Yamuna will wash away all your karmic reactions, even the good and the bad. So then, he said 70% of them just jumped out of the Yamuna and said, we don't want to have our good karma washed away. So, but good karma is binding you, will bind you, because you'll come back again and there is a padam yad vipadam. there's always a chance of falling down because Maya is very strong. Nalkuver and Mani Greed, we took that example, right? Like that. I saw Sadhana Mataji's hand raised, and I'll take that as the last question, if you may. Or is it lowered now?
Lowered, yeah, sorry, yes.
Lowered. Okay, no problems. Okay, so we heard the story, we heard the news about His Grace Pankaj Prabhu leaving. And so I wanted to just all get together here and chant maybe 11 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And I will do that after I take this Viraha. Did I answer your question?
No, actually, I have a quick question, Mataji.
Okay.
On the context of uncontrolled senses, sometimes we have these uncontrolled urges that we just can't get over. Like for me, it's like being on my phone every time, and then neglecting my duties, I'll do it, push it, like saying that I'll do it later, and then being on the phone like, 10 minutes more, 5 minutes more. So how do I overcome these urges?
Yeah, you can two things immediately for a quick short answer. You can start small, right? I know of a person who was addicted to tea and said, I just can't give up drinking tea. And it was a requirement for initiation. So I said, okay, don't give up drinking tea. Drink as much tea as you want. Don't cut down on any of the cups or whatever that you do. You're drinking 8 cups, drink 8 cups, right? All that I'm asking you to do is when you're drinking that coffee or tea or whatever, just drink 1 sip less than the last day. That's all that you're going to do. Drink as much as you can, right? So it's like you're trying to tame a horse. So what you do, sometimes you have to pull the reins and sometimes you let it go. So let it go. Tell the mind that I'm not stopping this. Yes, I'm going to stay on the phone for as much as I like. There's no restriction. I will be there. But all that I will do is, I will just reduce the time by 1 minute. So from 30, you can come to 29 per conversation. The next day, 29, you have to come to 28. And slowly, it'll get better exponentially, actually. And soon you will get into a good habit of knowing when to stay away from the phone. Second thing is you can give it to. Now you are lucky that you have Renu Mataji with you, right? So I used to do that. I had this compulsive urge when I was young to buy lipsticks, whether I could afford them or not afford them. I had this, and there was a lipstick shop right next to my office. And so during lunchtime, we used to have lunch, and me and my friend used to go and walk around and purchase lipsticks. So then I told her that, I want to really get over this, so you please stop me. And she was a very good friend, and she was very strong about that. And I would be begging her, like, hey, this is a new color that has come. Please, only this one. It's only so much rupees. Please, this is cheap. But she was very particular. She would pull me away and, not let me stand in there. So get a strong mentor. Somebody who's going to, or say that, okay, I'm going to write and send a report to my spiritual master or to my Guruma every day. And I'm going to tell her how many minutes, how many conversations I had on the phone, how many were useless, and how much time that I used on each one of them, and start reporting. Now, once you have that fear that, I'm reporting it to somebody senior to me, then you will yourself want to improve those scores. So what gets measured gets improved. So you can do that. You can do those 3 things. It'll go away gradually. Yeah, it'll go away gradually.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Or you can announce your scores here in the class every day. That'll be better. All right. So we'll chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 11 times, right? For Pankaj Angri Prabhu here. You can all chant together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. And one more mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, for all the souls who are suffering in some way, shape, or form in this material.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Shraddha.
You all take care.
Thank you,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So we will meet
Hare
on
Krishna,
Thursday night.
Mataji, it is
Hare
these
Krishna,
days. It is
Mataji.
very depressing, Mataji. Yesterday I was in bed most of the time.
You're not the only
I
one.
was
Yeah,
very
you're not
sad.
the only one. Yeah, you're not the only one. Yeah, all of us are going through this. Yeah, all of us are going through, as we hear near and dear one, friends, all reporting, parents are sick, no hospital, young people are sick. It's a very terrible time for all of us. It's depressing. Yeah. Just as devotees, just let's stay together, do the shastras, read, chant. That's the only thing that will give us some peace.
Stay safe, Mataji. Yeah.
Yes, everybody. Yeah. India, we're very worried, especially. Yeah.
Can I mention something?
Sorry. Yeah.
Can I mention something? It is really sad. We just have a really bad accident in Mexico City.
Oh yeah.
The subway,
On the bridge.
subway that is on the top floor. And they just die. Just right now, 20 people, including kids. And they don't know yet how many die. So yeah, it is a horrible times. Either way, sicknesses or accidents. Yeah.
So the bridge broke down, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's pray for them. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's pray for the recovery. Okay. So I'll take your leave and we'll meet again on Thursday. Okay. Be careful and please stay safe and please stay connected to
Krishna.
Yeah.